you guys all know that this show is called Haters Summit, a Gripe Fest. So I just wanted to start out by saying that I have a bone to pick with you all. Not with you all, like, specifically, I just mean the masses. They're all innocent, complicit, some might say. I say innocent. I have a bone to pick, and I do have to grouse. And here it is. Here's the thing. Have you noticed that the amount of people obsessed with the Titanic is frankly sick? That was a tragedy. Real people died. 1,517 to be exact. But if you go on the internet, the sentiment is quite different. These little TikTok neurodivergents, and I am allowed to make that joke, and I will not tell you why. These little TikTok neurodivergents have co-opted it as their cutesy little special interest. I swear, if you bring up the Titanic in their vicinity, their face lights up like a toddler when it sees an abandoned, unattended pool. They lose it. Can you imagine if we reacted to other mass tragedies like we react to the Titanic? Like, I don't know, can you imagine if you brought up, the nuclear bomb and someone in the room audibly squealed? I actually do know, like, several people at Brown Alone who would. But no, at least, like, the war autistics are, like, have more of, like, a, well, actually, that's not how the events transpired kind of vibe. The Titanic artistics are unbridled, and it's sick. I'm over it. Anyway, yesterday I was watching some Taliban thirst edits.
Oh my god.
No, I do understand how the Titanic obsession happens. I watch a lot of documentaries, and you know, the Titanic was one of those really chaotic events, and people are really attracted to chaos. Just look at how the world views the U.S. versus Canada. You know, the U.S. has tons of mass shootings, we have these horrendously corrupt politicians, but there's a certain sexiness about the U.S. America first, baby. We invested everything, including murder. But when you look at Canada, everyone just thinks of Canada as like the U.S.'s younger incel little brother who just plays Roblox all day because he doesn't have a girlfriend because he's a bitch and keeps relying on Mother Britain for help. I do watch a lot of documentaries though, and I've kind of scraped like the bottom of the barrel on Netflix, and it's starting to show. Recently I watched a 4-hour-long documentary about a giant catfish in the Amazon River. It was a 4-hour-long documentary, and it followed this guy, Ewan, on his lifelong mission to hunt down this massive 300-pound catfish, who he affectionately named the Goonch. And at the end of this 4-hour-long documentary, we actually never see the Goonch once. Not because this is a particularly elusive animal, but because the only technology Ewan used to try and track down a 300-pound catfish in the world's largest river was a single fishing rod fit for a mid-sized trout. I do respect, though, the dedication to a singular topic. I'm putting a lot of my creative energy into this project I'm doing. I'm working on a musical. It's a Call Me By Your Name meets Imagine Dragons jukebox musical. My magnum opus, some have called it. Has everyone heard of Call Me By Your Name? Yeah, I mean everyone does it. But if you don't know, which I know you all do, but I really want to tell this joke. It's a love story between an adult man and a late teenage boy. But to distract you from the statutory nature of their relationship, they set it in northern Italy, so that while you're watching it, you can be like, Europe, so cultured and exempt. Yeah, but I'm working on this very emotional scene where Elio confronts Oliver about their like on and off again relationship. I'm gonna give you a little piece. So it goes something like this. He goes like, Oliver, I just can't keep doing this back and forth. It's too much for me. I'm breaking up to ash and dust. I bite my peach and I sweat my rug. Yeah. No, aside from the Call Me by Your Name musical, using only Imagine Dragons songs, I am pretty bored, which is never a good thing, because when I'm bored, my mind likes to come up with little treats. Medical professionals call them delusions. I call them glimpses into the world to come. An example of this is I was on a walk late at night with my friend. We were up by Prospect Park, and it was like 3 a.m. No reason why. There was those barricades, those plastic barricades they use for construction. There was apparently one behind a tree, but I didn't really see it. Instead, when I gazed upon this barricade, my brain supplemented me with something else, and I screamed, "Oh my God, a lioness!" Yeah, a lioness. The creature from The Lion King and nowhere else. I mean, to give myself the benefit of the doubt, I did very quickly realize that it wasn't a lioness, quite immediately. I was like, no, that's not right. A major win. After my friend recovered from this sort of laughing fit, she was like, "Why a lioness and not just a lion?" To which I responded quite earnestly, "Well, I didn't see a mane." To be clear, I also didn't see a lioness. No, but I think the reason I get bored is that because we used to have all these little tasks that people just did. We just had so many useless tasks. Women had tea parties. Children rolled metal hoops down the street. Men went to war. Do you remember those days? Good old days. This generation would never. No, but we used to have all these useless tasks. Even the president had them. Do you remember when the U.S. president was so unbelievably obsessed with putting a man on the moon? And for no reason. We don't even care about space anymore. This has helped absolutely no one. But I actually think it would be pretty cool if we gave the president a menial little task. Because if you think about it, during the space race, things were going pretty well for the U.S. Aside from Russia, Berlin, Korea, Japan. Things were going pretty well for us. I think we should maybe do that again. Can you imagine if you turned on the TV and you saw Joe Biden talking to the nation? He was rallying people for his latest make-a-wish of a stupid task. Can you imagine you turn on CNN, because this is Brown, you watch CNN? Can you imagine you turn on CNN, Joe Biden just "My fellow Americans, we're coming to you today to announce that we are divesting all of our money from climate change solutions and military aid to race against Mozambique in breeding the world's largest horse." I actually think that would solve a lot of our problems. It would inspire some healthy competition between nations. And it would solve our generation's biggest problem, turning the Titanic autistics back to their natural state as horse girl autistics. Thank you, everyone.